40,000 people,
Yeah.
and they're cheering you on. There's no other high like it in the world.
Dwayne, you've trained your whole life with football, pro wrestling, action films. What was unexpected about preparing for this role compared to what you've done before?
Everything. 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 I wanted to, of course, challenge myself and do things that I've never done before and jump off the cliff, as we've been saying, and work with not only Benny, and of course she's worked with Emily before, and everything was different for me. And this role and this part in this film, it just represents so much more than just the film that's based off this incredible human being and another human being who was the love of his life. It also represents for me just kind of like doing something that I was really scared to do. And to be honest with you, I'd not been in that position ever, where I was scared. Like, can I do this? Am I gonna fail? And I don't know. I've never 13 or 14 prosthetics and then a physical transformation, a vocal transformation. How he walked, his mentality. He OD'd twice. He's lucky to be alive. There's so much, and this volatile relationship that was still an impassioned one with love that he had. So it was a lot. Everything was different.
For the record, I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
You know, I knew it. I was so sure that I was like, there's not a, because he just felt all this stuff so deeply. It was just like, it was just a matter of time.
I know that you've been questioning whether I am the fighter that you thought that I was.
I mean, I felt a lot like Benny. Like, I had no doubt that he'd be able to, because I think I've known him for a long time now. And I'd always known this very deep well of beautiful, emotional, sort of this life experience that I don't think he'd been allowed to tap into. So I didn't have any doubt, but I knew he would be scared, but I also said, I'm very scared every time. Like, I'm always terrified. And Tara is great.
And that Tara is great part, I had not experienced that. And I just grew up an only child. My dad was a tough guy, he raised me with tough love. So if I was scared of something, I'm not gonna say it. You know, I'm not gonna be vulnerable. So getting together with these two and us becoming very, very close, all of us, allowed for that vulnerability. But that idea that Tara is a good thing, and when you're really scared to do something, do it scared. Because on the other side of that is something that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And there's just like, the thing that I was so excited about was we wanted to show a very realistic relationship, you know, one that you watch in the theater and think, oh, I've had that fight before, I've said those things, and I feel bad about that, you know?
Yes.
And one of the things that requires is there needs to be a base foundation of like actual care for one another, because that's when you say the things that really hurt. In a weird way. It's complicated.
Yeah.
But they just have such a deep friendship, and they root for one another, and I just knew that was so important if we were going to explore these other parts of it too.
Yeah, because I think the beauty of the relationship and how Benny framed it, and then us getting to know Mark and Dawn, the heart-wrenching part was that I think they were always on the hunt for a happy medium with each other, and it just eluded them all the time. It was sort of like spiraled out of control.
They get so close.
So close. And then I also really feel that someone can be your great love, and they can also be your tender spot and your Achilles heel, and at times your downfall, you know? And I think that that's important to show that in a relationship. It doesn't mean that every relationship is toxic. It just means that we got to portray something real that fluctuated. But that's a lot of relationships.
A day without pain is like a day without sunshine.
The skin bad. The skin's insane.
Know what I'm doing, all right?
Was there moments of improv between you two? Because even just like the moments by the pool, these relatable, like, why didn't you trim this? Like,
Which was so persnickety and annoying, and I get why she's pissed about it.
It's interesting because like, yeah, we'll have the scene, and then it's like it's constantly evolving. So like the scene is written and we know what we're gonna say, but then when you hear it, you're like, that could sound more realistic. And then we work together to figure out how to best say it, you know? So I always want to be surprised by what happened in front of the camera, you know? So there always needs to feel alive. And so there's like one line I remember like writing in there being like, no, I've said this before and I feel really bad about saying this. Like, it's not nice to make me say no all the time. I've said that and I'm like, I feel really bad about that. But it was also like, but again, it was just we're working together to try and keep it fresh and keep it alive. So there's no mistakes, whatever we want to try.
But you were so unprecious about straitjacketing us with anything. But there were a lot of scenes that felt more that we'd really worked on it together as a unit before.
Exactly.
And then occasionally, maybe for the really high-octane big fights, I feel you let the guardrails come off more, and we yelled over each other, and it was like there was a mess to it that was so exciting. So I think it was a combination of everything, but I felt we'd always talk for an hour before we
Definitely. And it was because it was always you just approach it with a fresh set, you know. It's a tool to get you to the final place, you know.
No, it's about perspective, okay?
Benny, you wrote, directed, produced, and edited. A lot of stuff. Yeah.
It's so funny because like I literally look at it. I don't look at it that way because like when I'm editing, I'm sitting there being like, what the hell was he thinking?
He missed that shot.
Yeah, I'm like, what's wrong with it? I hope that he did this. And it's like, so I treat myself like this like random, totally different person.
That's awesome.
So, as the editor, was there any moments or scenes that you had to make the tough call to just go, this doesn't fit in the full picture, we need to lose this?
There's a couple of scenes like that where it's interesting because like the whole thing was supposed to kind of feel like an emotional reality version kind of thing. Like I wanted it to feel like you were there. And that meant there had to be like a wave of feeling that kind of went through the whole movie. And so if there was an amazing scene that really was great, there's two that I'm thinking of. One involves like getting a hamburger and a drive-through line.
That drive-through.
I know.
And
then
then
there's-
you're right.
and
Like
then-
now in the through line, you're like, where would it fit?
And then there's another time where he goes to a temple in Japan, and hopefully those will come out at some point. But they just were not the right. There were different moments in Mark's life that didn't fit in with this period of time. I'm thinking about the audience when they're watching this thing, and if you take that detour, why are you taking that detour, and is it worth it? So I'm very hard on myself. I guess that's another way to say it. It's like very hard on myself, and I honestly, like, I'll look at something, and even though it took forever to do, and we went literally to like the middle of like a very small town, I'm like, doesn't work. You know?
Yeah.
Always about you. Only about you.
Music seems to be a really big, important part to this. Is there any music that you all use to either to get into character or even to just create the vibes on set?
Yes. Yeah, I made a huge playlist actually of just like, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger as we were like moving through. I would just keep adding songs. I use it to try and understand where I am at. And so I'll listen to a song and it'll reflect how I'm feeling, and then I'll listen to the words, and then I'll send it to them being like, listen to this song. It relates to this moment or something, you know?
Your playlist you sent us was really transporting, I think, and helped me understand tonally what it visually would look like too. It's like it sort of sent you into this pod of the movie, and it was so helpful. So I'd listen to that on the way to work, and then I did get into I was trying to think of the albums I was listening to. Obsessed with Cowboy Carter and obsessed with Billie Eilish's new album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. I remember listening to those two albums and Benny's playlist.
His playlist was amazing, and you know what we had found in the experience working with Benny is that what I've been describing, because it makes me sound cool, I think, is he kind of bends these lyrics where there's scenes where it will carry over into the next scene to make sure that the audience know that the character may be in another setting, but still thinking about what took place.
Yeah, like the Jungle Land.
Like the Jungle Land.
After the big fight, and then it carries over and you're doing your picture.
But I'm still back there. Yeah. And it's a thing, and maybe even if audiences can't articulate it, they're gonna feel that. And there's a great quote, there's a song that he sent, and I can't remember the name of the song, but you'll remember this. At the end, he goes, and in the end, there was nothing, but believe me, it was no fun waiting for nothing to end.
Yes.
What song?
Lee Hazelwood.
Yes.
Lee Hazelwood.
Yes.
That song,
yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
And it's not in the movie, but I remember that moment.
In the end, there was nothing, but believe me, it was no fun waiting for nothing to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Benny. Right?
Yeah, so
when you work with Benny, you'll get these songs, and sometimes he'll just pull a few lyrics and send them to you. Like, think about this.
Yeah, wait for this moment, and then because then all of a sudden it just hits you, you know? And then Nala's score, God, you know that because it's
Score was so beautiful, such a juxtaposition.
yeah, it's everything is at the same level, you know. One doesn't take precedent over the other. They have their own moments, you know. And just the way that she kind of was like almost like this like psychoanalytical emotional subtitling for the characters, you know. It was a really intense view because it's not what you think the characters are feeling, but it is what they're feeling, you know.
It's simple. Am I going to hurt him
Go.
before he hurts me?
Get up, Mark, come on.
Ready?
I think so.